Hello. Turn up the volume. Hey. It's Shamaree. I am a relationship and intimacy coach, and I empower women to get the confidence and pleasure that they deserve so that they no longer settle for lack of satisfaction, especially within the context of relationships. And I do these weekly lives where I answer questions that are submitted to me throughout the week by you guys. And so today I have some questions, and when it comes to the weekly Q&A, I just want to let you guys know I try to do them every week unless there is a holiday or a special occasion of some sort. Today is my birthday, so it is a holiday or special occasion of sorts for me, but every birthday I have a lot of emotions, a lot of conflicting feelings. I usually cry, and so I wanted to still come on, show face, and hopefully this helps me kind of sort through those emotions. Thank you. And so I do have my questions as usual. I'm going to try and make it fast though, because like I said, it's my birthday and I'm supposed to be going out to dinner and all of those things later. So I do want to get right into it. If you have questions that you want to submit, you want me to answer your questions next time, then look in my story throughout the week. I post an Ask Me Anything thing, so you can insert your questions there. I do get some DMs, and I try to answer the DMs, but the best way to get your questions answered is to submit them in my story. All right, and so the first question that we have today is going to be, when is the right time to start dating after a breakup? And so when it comes to the right time, there's not going to be a specific measurement that I can give you. So I'm not going to say like 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. But what I would say is I want you to do a lot of inner work, right? So knowing what happened with the last relationship, if you are still healing from that relationship, making sure that you're doing the work needed in order for you to heal from that relationship. And also kind of, like I said last time, reintroduce yourself to yourself, learn who you are as an individual so that you're able to put that forth in the best light. And then also knowing what you want. So knowing what you want in the next relationship may be something that didn't work in the last one that you are very sure that you need in the next one. Making sure that you're very clear on all of those things, the things that you did wrong, things that you can fix, working on those things, knowing what you want from a partner, and being very clear in what those things that you want for a partner is, so that when you see someone or when someone comes into your life and they're not that, you feel comfortable and you're okay with letting that go because that's not for you. So when you're in that place, whatever length of time that takes for you, I think that is a safe time to go ahead and start dating again. But again, I want you to be very sure what your intentions are. I know that after breakups, sometimes we want to get back out in the world. Like they say, the best way to get over someone is to get under someone. So if you're just trying to have like that temporary release or that temporary satisfaction, then being very clear in stating that, or having that communication between whoever it is that you're engaging with, so that there's very clear expectations and your boundaries are set. If you're looking for a long-term relationship, you want to make sure that you're moving in a way that you're getting the long-term relationship, but also that those boundaries and those expectations are set ahead of time. So know where you are, and know what you offer, what you are hoping to get in return. And once you know all of those things, then I say that's a great time for you to start dating. And that can be whatever. Sometimes people get over a relationship while they're in it. So if it just so happens to be 2 days and you feel like you're ready in 2 days, I can't tell you that you're not. That's something that you have to decide for yourself. And even if you feel like you're ready and then you get out there and you're confronted with situations or with circumstances that show you that maybe you're not ready, you can always change your mind. You don't have to commit yourself one way or the other. So if you decide, okay, I'm going to give myself 6 months, but after 4 months you feel like, hey, I'm in a really great place and I want to start now, don't feel like you have to stick to that 6 months just because that's what you said. You can always kind of reevaluate as things change and grow and develop in your life. So that's what I would say about that. Not a specific amount of time, but definitely making sure that you're doing those specific things so that you're in the best place for dating, because it can be a lot to date. So you want to make sure that you're in the best position in order to get what you want, but also that you're not out there hurting other people either, right? All right, and so the next one, number 2, when you move on, would it be too much to reach back out to see if the person is doing well? So for this question, I'm going to answer you with a series of questions, which may or may not be what you're looking for, but I do want to ask you a few things. So after you move on, wanting to reach back out to someone to see if they're doing well. So you want to ask yourself, what is the motivation for wanting to reach back out to this person? And you want to be very honest with yourself, because I know for me personally, there have been times that I have been in situations where I did reach back out to people, but it was more so for validation, whether that's validation that I made the right decision in leaving that person alone, validation in, oh yeah, they answered, they responded, they think about me too, or they still care. Validation in that I'm doing better than they're doing. So you want to see what that motivation is, right? So do I really want to know if they're doing well, or is it serving some selfish purpose in my life? The next thing I would ask is, how will it affect you emotionally? So if they do answer and they say that they're doing great, is that going to hurt your feelings to know that they're doing better now? Is that going to make you feel better? Like, what is that going to do for you? Is that going to set you back in your own journey? Are you hoping that they want to rekindle things, and that's going to kind of draw up emotions within you if you hear something otherwise? And then the other thing I would ask is where, or for what you know of this person. So obviously if you were involved, whatever that length of time that you were involved with them, you know them at least a little bit, I would assume. I don't know, but I would assume that you know them at least a little bit. So knowing what you know of this person, if you reach back out to them, do you think that that's going to throw them off on their journey? So yes, sometimes it's nice to know someone still cares, or it's nice to know that someone who is a very important part of your life is doing okay. But sometimes it's just because I want to know, because it'll make me feel better. But I know that talking to them will not make them feel better. Will that affect them in a negative way? Will that set them back as far as healing from the situation that you guys had? So you want to think about all of those things. And if you're okay with whatever those consequences are, if you're okay, you're in a good place, and you feel like they would be as well, I don't think it's wrong necessarily to reach back out to someone. Like I said, I've done it previously, and sometimes not even for those selfish reasons. Sometimes I had a boyfriend when I was about 19, 20-ish. I think it ranged from there. And at the time, our relationship was, I would consider it, people call it kind of toxic, the way that we interacted with one another. And I realized years later, because some of the things that he said and did affected me very negatively, and I would sit and I actually had to really analyze who I was as a person, what I did in those circumstances, and I wasn't the best version of myself at all. Obviously, I had trauma, and I was acting out on that trauma, and I didn't necessarily see anything wrong with it because I'm honest, and like, if you know me, like, that's my thing. I'm a very honest person, but my honesty was being very blunt, very straightforward, very hurtful a lot of the times, and that's not okay. So I realized a lot of the things that I said and that I did, and having that conversation and reaching back out to that person, that it really actually hurt his feelings, and it impacted him beyond what our relationship lasted. So we ended things, but he was still hurting. And that's not who I want to be. So it's not always wrong to reach back out. I reached back out, we apologized to each other, and we were able to see the impact that it had. And I think that we're both much better people now. And obviously we weren't meant to be together. It wasn't meant to be a long-term relationship or anything like that. But I think that it taught us so much, and being able to kind of go back and acknowledge that, and acknowledge where we went wrong and things that we would never do, or that we would hope to be different moving forward, just within our own selves, I think was very therapeutic in a lot of ways. So I don't necessarily think it's a wrong thing to do. There's times where it works out very well. Obviously, that I think that was great that we were both able to acknowledge that. But it could also go very wrong. And so it's knowing what your motivation is, trying your best not to be selfish or self-serving, and just understanding that that person can not want anything to do with you, and being okay with that too. So you can reach back out and try to see if they're doing well, if they're okay, what's going on in their life, but they very well may not want to talk to you at all. And that doesn't mean that you're a bad person, or that you suck or whatever. I don't know, but that's just their journey and what they're dealing with in their life, and that's where they are. So I think that, all things considered, answering those questions for yourself and being very honest with yourself, first and foremost, before even getting to the point where you're picking up the phone to call, I think that is important. But I mean, it's up to you ultimately, but I would say consider those things first and foremost before you shake up your life and also the other person's life. And let me reintroduce myself. Since we're kind of in the middle here, I do 4 questions if you don't know, at least for now. Maybe in the future that'll change, but for now I try to stick to the 4. So I'm Shamaree. I'm a relationship and intimacy coach. I empower women specifically to get the confidence and pleasure that they deserve, so that they no longer settle for lack of satisfaction, especially within the context of relationships. And so we are doing our weekly question and answer. I'm answering the questions that you guys submit to me throughout the week. And we are on number 3. And so number 3, pretty much summed up, is how to increase libido. This is something that I do get asked often. And so when it comes to increasing libido, there could be many reasons why a person has a low libido. So sometimes understanding the source of that and the reason for that is very helpful, at least in the beginning. And so definitely check with a doctor, whether that's like your primary care, or if you need to go to the gynecologist, go to the doctor. Check to make sure there's no medical issues, any medications, any physical conditions that impact libido. Because when it comes to arousal or desire, I'm going to put it in 2 categories for you guys to make it very easy to understand. So one set of things as far as desire and arousal are the biological or the natural things, so like your hormones and physiologically things that are going on internally, right? So sometimes we're just in the mood. Sometimes we're just horny, and that's just what it is. Like it's not coming from a specific source. We maybe wake up that way, or throughout our day we just kind of notice like, something's going on. I'm feeling a little hot, right? So sometimes we have that sort of desire, right? And then the other category that I can kind of describe is a reactionary or a responsive type of desire or arousal. So this is happening in response to or in reaction to something that's occurring. So whether that be something that you're seeing, so if you're into pornography, if you're into erotica of any sort of visuals, or even just seeing your partner or someone that you are interested in, seeing their body or seeing something that they're doing, because sometimes it's not even just like physical, but seeing that they're doing something that excites you, hearing something. So if you hear like a sexy song or somebody's voice or something that they said to you, something real sweet, sometimes that can ignite feelings within us. Touches, if they touch the right spot, your erogenous zones, things that just make you feel something, right? So maybe I was not in the mood at all before, but now you're touching me like that, you're saying those things like that, and now I'm starting to get that to that point where it's happening for me, right? And so with those two categories, if you kind of know like, okay, I have this medical issue or this medical condition, typically that may be impacting kind of the natural desire. And I would say that for a lot of women, especially, it's not uncommon for them to have a lower instance of the innate or the natural spontaneous desire or arousal. That's not uncommon at all. And so if you're worrying about your libido being low because you don't naturally feel aroused, it doesn't come as easy for you, I would say that that's very common, and it's not necessarily a bad thing as long as you are able to tap into the reactionary or the responsive arousal or desire. So being able to stay open enough and to register when those things are occurring. So maybe I'm not in the mood, but then I see something really sexy, and being able to acknowledge like, that's a really sexy thing. And even if I don't start to physically feel aroused by it, allowing myself to mentally go there. And sometimes, if you know, the mind is the most powerful organ in our body. Like if you've ever had those sex dreams, you know you can orgasm in your sleep without any physical stimulus at all, right? So if you can allow yourself to get there mentally, then your body can follow suit. So that's one way that you can do it. So just kind of staying open and being responsive. If your partner's the one with the higher libido, being able to respond, to acknowledge, and to recognize when those stimulus are present, that can then lead to something. And don't go into it with the expectation that every time something happens that you're automatically going to create this magic. And it's okay if that's not the case, but it's something that you want to practice over time to allow your body to get used to those reactions, right? And then the other thing, as far as increasing libido, doing things that you enjoy, things that feel good for you. So even if you're not responding to something, making a conscious effort to do things that maybe you feel intrigued by, things that are pleasurable for you. So if that's putting on a sexy outfit, whether that's taking a bath or getting really clean. Typically when we're really clean and we smell really nice, we feel much better about ourselves. We feel much more confident. We feel more willing to be intimate with ourselves or with someone else. So I would say set those situations up. If you like to hear music, if music is what kind of puts you in a mood, because music definitely changes our moods and our emotions. So you can utilize external stimulus in order to ignite something. So it doesn't necessarily have to be your partner that you're responding to, but you can create those circumstances. And the other thing with libido, like I said, tons of things can be affecting this. So relationship satisfaction, life issues, life transitions. So if you're very stressed, and a lot of things are going on in your life, just as far as the hierarchy of needs, we kind of start with the most basic. So if we have a place to live, we have food on our table, and we feel pretty secure, then we're able to focus on all the other things. So we can focus on our relationships, we can focus on maybe our career and our higher education and all of these other things. We can then be very focused on those things. But if we are not secure at the most basic level, so if we're super stressed out because maybe money is tight, or maybe the house is crazy, or maybe there's health issues in the family, or maybe your kids are driving you crazy, whatever it is, if you have to worry about those things, those very acute in the moment things, it's very hard to even put yourself in a mind state that you would want to have sex, unless that's your coping skill, which it is for some people, which is cool that they're able to compartmentalize in that way. But for most people, if we're stressed out, we're doing 100 things throughout the day. By the end of it, we're not in that space. So making sure that if there are ways for you to address some of those other things, sometimes the focus needs to be there first and foremost, and that's understandable. But having that open communication with your partner so that you're able to come up with a plan. And if you have to schedule sex in order to get it going in the beginning, that's something that you have to do. Like, I think I mentioned this before, like when we date, like back in the day, like when you first got with your partner, if you really think about it, you always had to set it up, right? So like, oh, I'm gonna come over tomorrow night, whatever. Even if it's a friends with benefits situation, right? Whatever it is, you set up specific times that you were going to go on a date, or set up specific time. We got a D appointment and we have to prepare ourselves, and it's kind of a whole ritual, and that anticipation and that excitement adds to the experience. So we can create that even when we're in long-term relationships. It's not like, I don't know where the idea came from that we need to stop doing that and it should be automatic all the time, because that just doesn't make sense. Like, okay, now we live together, now we got married, or now we've been together 2 years. We should just be in sync, and we should just know. We shouldn't have to plan anything to facilitate intimacy when life still happens. Life is still going on and things are going to come up. So prioritizing it and scheduling it can definitely help, because once you start, I think for most people, once you start to get into the habit of doing it, it's much easier to keep it going. Like once you pop, you don't stop. Like that excitement, the rush of the hormones that you get from it, it makes you want to do it more. So the beginning is definitely the hardest, and as far as getting consistent in doing so. But if you're able to make sure you rule out any medical, physical conditions that may be impacting it, any medications that you may be taking that may be impacting it, rule out any dissatisfaction or life issues, or address those if you're able to, if there's problem solving that you need to do around those things, and if you're able to prioritize it and schedule, make sure that you have a specific time that you're able to do these things, right? So making sure that you set up time to meet with, whether it's a date, whether it's a shared activity, anything to facilitate intimacy that brings you closer to increasing that libido. And then there's also kind of the natural supplements, the maca roots, ashwagandha, and those sorts of things that you can try. And that's at your discretion. So those things are supposed to help you as far as your hormones, and helping to get you in the mood as well. So there's a few different ways. But like I said, definitely check with the doctor to make sure that there's nothing going on. And if there's not, if you need more ideas, definitely send me another message, or drop the question in my story later on, so that you're able to get some more ideas. But that's kind of just as a basis to start for libido. And then the last question, number 4. So despite how our world is today / social media, do you still believe true love exists? So love for me, so first and foremost, it's an emotion. It's a feeling that is produced, right? So I believe, just like happiness, sadness, whatever other emotion, of course it exists. I think that what we do with that love, how we show it, how we receive it, maybe even what we think about it, is definitely shaped by the world and social media and all of the things that we're told or that we learn over time. So I think that does change throughout the years, at least a little bit. I would say that most things are definitely in common throughout time, if you just think critically about it. As far as the experience of love, I think that's very real, just as real as any other emotion. So take that how you want, because emotions, they change and they evolve over time. So I believe that. But like I said, the way that we use that love can be done in very different ways. So there's also different types of love, I believe, because I think that most people have friends that they love, maybe they have family that they love, and then they have people that they're interested romantically that they love. And I think that the love is different. So obviously the way that we express that love is going to be different. But I do think that it exists for sure. If you want me to go into more detail, then you can kind of let me know that too. I do have something planned around the love languages, which is something else I get a lot of questions about, because that kind of goes into the different ways of showing, expressing, and receiving love. And it's helpful to understand how that resonates for you so that you're able to not only put that forth and have people understand you, but then also you're able to receive others and what that looks like for them, and understand where they're coming from when they're showing and expressing their love to you. So I'm definitely planning that out. I'm not 100% sure when that's going to be, but definitely keep an eye out for that if that's something that you're really interested in. I want to kind of go over what the love languages are. I want to give ideas about different ways that you can express them, because I think that sometimes like the title, so like words of affirmation, like yes, compliments are cool, right? But there's other ways that you can be showing that as well. And physical touch, there's different ways that you can show that. So like I want to go through and I want to give examples of different ways that you can show these different love languages, and also I want to give examples of things to try to avoid. So if you know that your partner is a gift person, what things you can avoid so that they don't feel a lack of love. So I do want to do that. I'll let you guys know, like I said. But again, those are the 4 questions. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and what I have to offer if you are interested. So I'm Shamaree. I am a relationship and intimacy coach. I empower women to get the confidence and pleasure that they deserve so that they no longer have to settle for a lack of satisfaction, especially within relationships. And so if you have questions, submit them. I put up a post in my story at least 3 to 4 times throughout the week. I try to do it every day. I do miss a day or 2 here or there. But if you see that in the story, submit your questions. I keep track of them so that I'm able to answer them in the weekly live. So if you want your question there, make sure you're doing that. But I do have some other services that you might be interested in, and I do have a gift for you if you're interested in purchasing services. So you definitely want to stay tuned so you can hear that. But first, in my easy tree, which is if you go to my bio here on IG, go to my bio and you click on the link there. That is my easy tree. You will see a little bit of information about me if you're curious, but then you'll also see all of my offerings. And if you scroll down under freebies, I want to tell you a little bit about those. First, I have a physical intimacy types list. So if you are needing some ideas about different things you can be doing, tired of the same old, I do have a list of ideas of physical intimacy that you can be engaging in or you can experiment with. And there's a table that comes along with that you are able to keep a list of the types of activity, but then also who you enjoy it with. So you can kind of keep track of that. You can also have your partner or your friends or whoever do it as well, just so that you can kind of see where they're at and make sure that no one's boundaries are being violated. The next thing is a sex topics list. So I always say if you're doing it and you want it to be good, you should be talking about sex with your partners. And sometimes people don't know what to do, what to say, because it is something that's still considered taboo. Whatever. So if you need some ideas about things that you can be talking about, then I do have a list of topics that you should be addressing. And so that's also listed under the freebies. And then the third freebie is the Come Confidently webinar. So it's a free webinar. It's about an hour long, where I give you 3 strategies for boosting confidence. So if you are a person who has struggled with confidence previously, or something that you're currently working on and you want to see if you're on the right track, then definitely get the webinar. It's free. Like I said, it's an hour long. You're going to get tons of information from me and examples and all of that sort of thing. So definitely click on that, check it out. And then as far as the paid opportunities, first I have a journal. So if you're interested in journaling, then I have a journal. It's a bullet and a written journal that I designed to help you to track your patterns and behaviors so that you're able to create a life that you love. So it's called Confidently Have the Pleasure That You Deserve. And in there, I included certain topics. So there's mood, there's self-care, there's dates, and there's sex, and then there's some blank areas that you can create charts of things that you would like to keep track of. And the purpose of this is, as you're filling these things out, it visually gives you a reference for seeing the correlations and the patterns in your life that maybe you don't necessarily realize when you're just kind of living, right? So being able to see those things and see when you have those best days, the most self-care, the most satisfying sex, right? The best moods, finding what happened on those days and being able to replicate that will allow you to live a more satisfying and more pleasurable life. So that is the purpose of the journal. If you go to the Easy Tree, link in the bio, scroll down under shop products, it is the only product listed. So if you click that, that'll take you right to Amazon where you can purchase it. And then the last thing, this is where the gift comes in. This is the big part. So I have my course. It's titled Better Sex, Guide to Confidence, Satisfaction, and Orgasms Without Faking. So this is a 6-month course that I designed. So it's designed at 6 months, but you have it forever. Once you purchase it, you have it forever. So you're grandfathered into any updates, any changes, any additions that I make along the way. But you have it forever. You can take as long as you need. You can do it multiple times. So you can do it this year, and then maybe next year you feel like, okay, maybe things have changed a little bit. You can do it again. So that's how it was designed. And that is going to be under courses in my Easy Tree. So it's the only course that I offer currently. If you click on that, you'll be able to go ahead and purchase. And typically it is priced at $19.99 if you pay it in full. And then if you want to do a payment plan, it's going to be $2,222. And that's split into 3 monthly payments, right? So just the first 3 months that you are doing the program is when you'll be paying. After that, you can just continue on with the course and it'll be paid off. But because it is my birthday, I did want to do something nice. Like I said, I get those very conflicting feelings on my birthday. So like I'll be excited, but I'll also be sad. I pretty much cry every birthday. So I wanted to do something that will make me feel nice. So it is a little bit self-serving, but but I think it's something that is a gift to you. I think it's something that will be helpful to you. So if you were at all ever interested in purchasing this course for today for the next 24 hours, so today going into tomorrow, which will be March 8th, you will be able to purchase the course for 33% off because I am 33 today. So you get 33% off, and the coupon code that you're going to use in order to get that 33% off is going to be Happy B-Day 33. And again, this is only for the next 24 hours. So if you do not view this live and purchase prior to the 24-hour mark, then you try to use that code, it is not going to work and you're going to pay full price. So if you're interested, I would definitely act now, because I'm not going to do this again. Well, at least probably not for a very, 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 very long time. So if you're ready to improve your confidence, if you're ready to increase relationship satisfaction, if you're ready to have orgasms, real orgasms, then definitely I would encourage you to get the course. And like I said, if you use Happy B-Day 33, you get 33% off. And so that is my gift to you. But if you have other questions or concerns, I'm open to responding typically, as long as it's not too much, because obviously I can't be we can't fully engage through DM or through the comments, but I do have a Facebook group. So if you join the Facebook group, typically you're able to get advice much quicker and much more lengthy advice, just because Instagram has a little bit of a shorter limit for texting. So definitely, if you go to my Easy Tree, if you go all the way to the bottom, all of my socials are linked. So definitely follow me all of those places. I have a lot of things that are coming up. But yeah, y'all can tell me happy birthday in the comments. If you're watching this later on, then hashtag replay in the comments to let me know that you're catching it later. Definitely check out the course if you're trying to get that discount before that is over in 24 hours. And I will see you guys later. I'm probably gonna do some posting because I'm gonna take some pictures and such for my birthday. So you'll probably see me a little bit later, but like I said, it's my birthday. I'm going out to dinner. I'm gonna try to be in the moment and enjoy my day, and make sure that I'm in a good mood. So good night, good evening, wherever you're located. I will see you guys later.